Hey, what's going on? I've been unmuted. That's good. Hey, it's Wednesday afternoon. It's about 1:30. We're getting better at being close to being on time, man. I'm kind of proud of us. Anyway, welcome to the Sports Show with No Name. I'm your host, Chad Bryan. I got Ben Bales with me as always. Ben, what's going on, man?
Nothing much.
You're not hitting 556 in the month of May, are you? Did you see Drake Baldwin for the Braves?
I did not.
He is absolutely on fire. They called him up. Sean Murphy got hurt, beginning of the season because that's what the Braves do. Remember he broke a rib or whatever he did in spring training. And they called up Drake Baldwin, and now they can't put him back down because he's hitting like almost 600 in the month of May.
That's crazy.
He's on fire. It's high school numbers. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I think we have a pretty good show for you today. It's kind of a rainy Wednesday, so we'll talk about things that make us sad, like the Cavaliers and the Browns. I think that's a great wheelhouse to stay right in.
Browns don't make me sad, but
well, that's true. Well, they do when they beat the Steelers in the playoffs, which
that is true.
I mean, I guess that's a roundabout.
It's only happened once, so
happened one time. We have that to hang on to. So we got that, Anyway, yeah, we'll get into the Browns, but the schedules came out. NFL schedules came out. We're not going to do the schedule game where we go week by week because that's incredibly boring. But we will take a look at the overall schedule and predict the Browns' record. Stick around to the end of the show for that. But spoiler alert, it's not going to be good. I don't think we're going to be in double digits in wins. But first, I want to get to the Cavs. Don't really have a lot of headlines this week. There's plenty of stuff going on. It was almost like too hard to pick for headlines. So I just want to get right into the Cavaliers because, Ben, you and I talked about it a little bit last week. I just want to talk some general NBA stuff. And when we talk NBA stuff, I like to bring on my man, Rayshone Gullatt. So let's do that right now. He is here via the Facebook Messenger hotline, where I messaged him yesterday and said, hey, man, sorry, I forgot I was going to have you on this week. You want to talk about the Cavs still? I like to give people no time to prepare. Ray, what's going on, man?
What's going on, my guys? How you doing?
We're here. Audio issues, video issues, everything else, but we're here, man. We are here today.
It goes on forever and ever.
Yeah, you never know, right? Let's just get right to it, man. Cavs. NBA playoffs. We're looking at exactly what we expected, right? For the conference finals.
Yeah.
We almost didn't have a 1 seed. We almost lost all 1 seeds. Well, 2 1 seeds anyway. But anyway, no, OKC made it. They're fine out in the West. They barely made it. It took them 7 games, but that's way less embarrassing if they'd lost in 7 games than
for sure
what our Cavs did to the Pacers. So let's just talk about the Cavs. Ray, we talked about it a little bit last week, Ben and I did, about just kind of what happened and what we thought happened. When you think back to another second round 5-game playoff loss, which is it's become the norm now for the Cavaliers. What went wrong in that series for you? I mean, what did you see that went wrong?
I think the appropriate question is like, what didn't go wrong? Excuse me. But when I kind of look at that series, I watched the entire series. Like I'm pretty sure all of us did.
Unfortunately,
I missed game 1. Game 1 was on a weird channel for me, so I didn't see it. But that's it.
lucky you actually.
Right.
I saw a bigger team. Number one. I mean, if you look at Nembhard, he's the shortest guy out there, sitting at 6'4". Everyone else at that point is 6'6" and up. So I looked at size. I saw physicality. They're definitely more physical. I personally think game 2, that's when they ripped our hearts out, and I think that's when the series was over. I kept seeing Kenny not adjust with that zone defense. That zone defense is like one of the most terrible defenses to use, especially if you don't have players who are quick to shuffle on their feet.
And the Pacers were shooting the lights out against it. I mean,
because that's the risk of it. When you're playing that kind of defense, there is the risk of leaving someone open. And in some cases, sometimes 2 players, depending on how slow you're trying to, move around. And then it creates mismatches, as we kept seeing in that game or in that series.
Pacers just shot one of my lights out. I just hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. But as we kept seeing in that series, Tyrese versus Jared, like that mismatch just kept happening,
I was just gonna speak on that. Like you said, it's just all the mismatches. It's just it like you said, it's Kenny Atkinson's inability to not switch every screen. He did it every year. That's what killed us against Boston. It killed us against Indiana too.
Yeah, but I also think too, bro. I just kind of think like, yes, it's Kenny. It is his responsibility as the coach. But I also feel like with Jared as a player, like at the end of the day, you're the player.
Yeah.
You're out there. You should have the best feel for what is going to work and what's not going to work. So as a player, just using NBA common player sense, I keep switching on this guy and he keeps giving it to me every time. At some point, I'm going to yell out to the guard, don't switch. Stay on him. You're better being on him than I am.
Fight through the pit, do something.
Yeah, sometimes as a player, you have to make that executive decision over your coach. We've seen it plenty of times, and we've seen the player actually be in the right in those situations. So I just felt like Jared didn't have enough backbone in that situation to where he's like, oh, I'm just going to follow coach's plan. And that's not necessarily wrong, but sometimes coach isn't always correct,
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, and another big thing, man, and it's kind of funny because now, when you first asked me this question, Chad, I was like on the fence about it, but I gave you my pick because I actually like that player. But looking at it now, without a shadow of a doubt, they did not make the wrong decision in who they made Sixth Man of the Year in this season, because Ty Jerome got exposed. We got exposed. It was just the simplicity of when you get physical with this dude, and you're not letting him just kind of dribble and have his way, you will see that he's very limited. And we saw that as Cav fan, how very limited he is.
I think, and don't get me wrong, I mean, Chad knows this. I'm a big, I love our core four. I think our only weakness is small forward with Strus. But at the same time, the only person on the Cavs starting five that didn't really back down to the Pacers' physicality was Donovan Mitchell. That dude's out there with an ankle injury, a calf injury. He's going at these bigs,
throwing his body in there, trying to get free throws, man, trying to make something happen. I agree with
that. The one thing I will say is, yes, Ty Jerome got exposed, but then in that game 5, right, you're down by 10. Ty Jerome comes in, has 8 quick points, and you take him out for Max Strus, who's shooting 0 for 7, and Ty Jerome doesn't see the floor again. It's again, it's Kenny Atkinson getting out coached, right? He's like, oh, well, I need Strus because, he's got more physicality and, he might be, a more grittier player. Ty Jerome just hit 8 quick points in a minute and 10 seconds.
Stay with the hot hand. You need points.
He hadn't seen much time over the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a reason for that. Because he was shooting 16% from the field. But people forget that in game 1 of that series, he did have 20 points.
Yeah.
But like Rayshone said, when you get physical with the whole Cavs team, they all kind of just shut down. Oh, well, we can't do much.
They just stay within themselves. They don't really, they don't come outside the bottom. Yeah, outside of Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, that's fair.
And I told Chad this. I said, me and Chad were talking about it. The Cavs need a player like Draymond Green. Doesn't have to be Draymond Green, but you need a player like the Pacers with Benedict Mathurin that's not afraid to get ejected in the first quarter of a game to set the tone. Because don't get me wrong,
come out and be the team that punches somebody else in the mouth.
Exactly.
Not literally, but
exactly.
You know what I mean? Land that first blow. First of all, win a game at home as the 1 seed, please.
That too.
Oh my God, dude.
How do you?
I was saying this, right? If I was Kenny Atkinson and I was in Kenny Atkinson's shoes, when that game was that game 3 that he got ejected.
I personally don't like to wear other people's shoes.
4.
I don't know about you.
Game 4, he got ejected, and we still got whooped.
That's a game where I would have put Tristan Thompson in and told Tristan, hey, go lay out all 5 of the starters. I don't care how hard you do it. Go lay them out and set a tone.
So he didn't see any time at all really on the floor.
And I think it's a problem because he's the guy. He is the Draymond Green that's not afraid to get physical, bang some bodies with some dudes, and get in altercations. We saw earlier in the year.
The most experienced playoff, Cavalier that they have, right?
People forget this guy when we needed him the most this season. When Evan Mobley went down with an injury in the middle of the season, Tristan Thompson played 18 straight minutes to close out a game because we didn't have another big man.
Yeah,
he's in year 14. Don't get me wrong, he's not as good as he used to be. He's not the catalyst he was in 2016. But
year 14 is wild.
But we all saw that he had 21 rebounds. He had 21 rebounds against the Pacers when they put all their starters. You're telling me he couldn't have gone out there and grabbed a rebound over Jared Allen?
Hey, there has to be a reason. Maybe not a good reason. There has to be a reason he didn't see the floor.
I think it's Kenny Atkinson getting out coached.
Okay.
Yeah,
He thought his guys were better.
And I kind of will boil it down to that as well. Like the coaching, like I thought, because I think Kenny's a genius actually, but in this series he just did not make the right adjustments. Because I got one better for you guys. Because everything you said is right. You know what else he should have kept doing? Why would you not continue playing Javonte Green and the young kid Porter?
I agree.
When you played them in Game 3 for the little time you did,
you went on a run.
They caused disruption. I think they both got a steal. And then like to talk about those little things about like being physical, being an annoyance. One thing that Javonte Green did that I love, and if I'm not mistaken, it was game two that he did. When they blew the whistle, right? So the play was dead. And Indiana had the ball, and one of them still tried to get their shot through, and he blocked it and was like, "Man, get that shot out of here!" And I'm just like, "Yes, thank you." Like it's just the little thing. It's those little things in basketball that, as you said, it sets the tone. It gives your teammates that energy. It lets your teammates know, no, we're not playing with these guys. No, I'm not letting you get a little free dead play shot so you can find your rhythm by default.
Right.
Like, no, I'm in your face, in your grill for the entire time that I'm out here. You're gonna have to deal with me. And
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong, Ray. Real quick, did the Cavs almost looked like they approached that whole series like it was a regular season series, like it was sort of like, some games in November, December.
Yeah. So to jump on that, right? You know, I feel like they approached it in a sense of like they still thought they were in Miami. You know what I mean? Like they still thought they were dealing with Miami. And it's like, no, you're dealing with a totally different beast here. As I kept saying to everyone throughout this series, because weirdly enough, you guys, for some reason, people in Cleveland just have no respect for Indiana. They just don't think they're that good of a team. And as I kept telling people, I said, hey, this team was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year for a reason. Whether you like them or not, you cannot say they can't ball. They clearly can ball because they were there last year, and look where they are this year.
Yeah.
If they play tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think it's the history. They're just kind of like a boring franchise. Like, no offense, but I mean, you've got Reggie Miller. That was 100 years ago. That was exciting. But I mean, they're just sort of fly under the radar. But like the state of Indiana, they get it done, right? I mean,
they get it done, and it's those teams that get it done. The teams that everyone's not paying attention to. Everyone's like, oh, whatever. Yeah, Indiana. Who cares? In January, they went 41-19. They're not paying attention to those kind of teams, and then you don't pay attention to them until they get into your house and they take 2 dubs in your house, go back home, lose one, spank them in the next game, and come back and close out on your floor. And for God's sake, closing out, wave at you saying bye-bye.
You know who I think would be you know who I think would be one of those perfect like Draymond Green type guys that would fit this Cavs roster? Dylan Brooks.
Okay.
I love Dylan Brooks.
He's a guy that can space the floor, right? He can shoot the 3 ball if you need him to, right? But he's not afraid to get out there and get in somebody's head and start talking and start being physical. And don't get me wrong, right? Like I told Chad and like we talked about last time you're on Rayshone, like, yeah, those hustle plays win games. But when you stop making those hustle plays, you're gonna lose possessions. You're not gonna get extra possessions. You're not gonna win ball games. The only game the Cavs won, right? You had every single player on the floor diving for loose balls, running for balls out of bounds. Right? And you stop doing that. The only game they did it. What happened? They won the game.
Game 4, right?
They had more rebounds, had 20 more shots, caused more turnovers.
Or game 3, I mean, yeah.
But then they stopped.
Yeah.
Well, they had it. They got to win. Now they're good.
Exactly.
And like going back to what you said, like I think I think Kenny Atkinson is a genius, right? Because he made what a lot of people said, oh, you know, it won't work with 2 bigs and 2 undersized guards, right? Like he made it work. Like he wasn't like one of the most efficient offenses we've ever seen.
But it worked in the regular season.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
But not even that. Like I think it would have worked in the playoffs if they were fully healthy, right?
Okay.
Because Donovan Mitchell was literally having to carry the entire team on one leg.
Yeah.
Darius Garland was playing with 9 toes. Evan Mobley was playing with 1 ankle.
which sounds like a lot out of 10. It's 90%, but when that one is your big toe and you can't bend it, that's tough.
And DeAndre Hunter was playing with 9 fingers.
Right. Well, technically 8.
Yeah,
2 thumbs and one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Technically 8.
I didn't know he had an extra finger. Maybe we should have done better if he had an extra finger, right?
But defensively, like Rayshone said, like you got guys on the bench. Like I know people hate on Dean Wade because he's not great offensively, but he knows his defensive assignments. He plays tough on defense. Sam Merrill plays good defense. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he was hurt. He was out in Game 5 due to an illness.
He could go for me. I'm sorry.
But no, I agree. He's
maybe he watched the first 4 games of that series and just it made him sick.
You know who else can go right quick too? That I speak of defense. I'm very disappointed in. Or Coral, you can go. It's one thing, and I'll be very brief. It's one thing when you're not hitting jump shots because we understood when we drafted you, we didn't draft you because you were the best shooter in college. We simply draft you because of your defense. And,
and if the shot developed, it was going to be a bonus. Yeah,
it was going to be a bonus. But you can't go out there and do what we drafted you and paid you to do. Yeah, no, he can go too. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And I agree with you there, but I think it's hard to be locked in defensively when you're not seeing much minutes.
Okay.
I hear that.
But it's not hard to go out there and give physical effort and just stay with the guy.
No.
Right?
Like I said, I get what Rayshone's saying, but like when you paid him to lock in defensively and guard the best player on the floor, it's kind of hard to do that when you're not getting consistent. Like if you look at his defensive rating, right? When he started those games that Max Strus was out, right? He had the highest defensive rating among small forwards in the NBA.
Okay.
You look when he moved to the bench, he's bottom half of the league in defensive rating.
I don't think he contributes enough offensively to warrant starting him.
No, but that's
right.
The thing,
I don't know. I mean, that's a tough. That's a tough
thing, the Cavs started 15-0 with him in the starting lineup.
Fair.
Yeah, and I was gonna say as well, Chad. Like, considering the talent that the Cavs do have, you could afford to start him.
When you've got 3 options there, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Like,
but that's the disadvantage of having Garland unhealthy
but
Mitchell on one leg, and
the thing is too is like Okoro was shooting well until that ankle injury he had like midway through the season. Then he couldn't shoot, right? Like Okoro, each year Okoro was like Mobley. He's gotten better at the 3-pointer. It's just that he doesn't hit it as consistent as Mobley and doesn't take as many attempts as Mobley.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that like you said, if I were the Cavs, right, and if you're gonna run this back, I think Okoro needs to see more minutes just for defensive purposes.
Okay.
Like I think he needs more time with like Garland, with like Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley at the same time, right?
Okay.
Like maybe Mobley's at the 5, right? Maybe Dean Wade's maybe it's one of those spells where you have Dean Wade and Mobley on the floor. Instead of putting Strus out there for his second shift, I think maybe you throw Okoro out there, give him some more minutes to get him locked in defensively. Because kind of like Rayshone said, like we have enough offensive firepower that you can hide him on offense.
Yeah, okay.
And he's one of those guys too that like he's physical. So he'll hit a backdoor cut, he'll lay one up and get laid out. Like it's not like he's afraid of that. But it's kind of like the Warriors all those years, when they, Draymond wasn't elite offensively, but he could give you, 15, he'd give you 15, 20 with, 2 or 3 3-pointers.
Yeah. I think Ray just have some technical difficulties. We're getting back in a minute. But Ben, let me ask you this. Do you think the Cavs got caught looking forward a little bit?
Yes.
You think they were looking ahead of the Celtics?
I do.
Okay, that's fair. It just felt like they didn't really approach this series with any kind of fire or passion. And suddenly they were down 2-0 before it was time to even really like think about what was going on, right?
Yep.
And
I just think we just got outmatched. We got outclassed.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, there is no excuse to shoot 20% from 3 in a series and 32% from 3 or from the field in a series, and think you deserve for any reason to win that basketball series.
Right, and you're playing on floors that you're used to. Sometimes in the college tournament, we talk about how when you go to smaller teams, when they go to a bigger arena, I think it can affect your shooting a little bit. That I completely understand.
And
right?
I agree that I think it can affect it for the better too.
Well, sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Because like I remember hearing that St. Peter's team, right? They were saying like, we're not used to playing on these super nice floors, and like, the ball seems to bounce the same everywhere because like you said, some of these smaller
Dead spots on the floor.
exactly might have
Yeah.
dead spots and stuff like that. And you go to these tournaments and people are like, okay, and it's kind of an advantage for those smaller teams too when you play at home because like where those dead spots are.
Yes.
So it's
we're
like
gonna get Ray back in. Ray's all good. We're gonna get him back in. Audio's okay. We can hear you, Ray.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Let me ask you this. I just asked Ben if the Cavs got caught, maybe looking ahead to the Celtics a little bit. And I think maybe a little bit, right? But let me ask you this. What do the Cavs do to fix this going forward? Is this just try to stay healthy and run it back situation? Or do they add someone? Do they subtract someone? I mean, how do they fix this?
I'm not running it back with the same team. No. And the reason I'm not is because I felt like, it's just one of those situations for me where I felt like I seen enough of what I needed to see in this series. And I seen enough from the certain guys where I'm like, okay, you're good. You can stay, but you're gone. Yeah. And another reason I'm also just kind of so eager to make a move and trade someone, you got to think, how does that expression goes? Strike the pot while it's hot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There are a lot of big names right now in this league floating around. You got Giannis. I don't think we're going to get Giannis, but I'm just putting it out there. You got Giannis. This name is floating around.
Okay.
You've got if Giannis is gone, you got to think of what they might do with Dame. I'm not saying you go get Dame because Dame obviously has some his personal own issues going on.
Yeah.
Personally, if I'm the Cavs, you know who I'm going to give a call to?
Who?
I'm going to give a call to Memphis, and I'm going to say, hey, man, I know you're tired of that mess you got going on with Ja over there. What it's not working out for you guys like you planned. You guys should have been to a Western Conference Finals by now.
Yeah.
You have yet to get there. So what do you want for Ja? I'll throw you Garland a couple picks. Oh, that's not enough. I'll throw you Garland a couple picks and Jared for Ja and Brandon Clark. What do you want to do? It's just you gotta, and I fear that that's not gonna happen because I just don't necessarily think Kobe Altman. I just don't necessarily think he's that bold to make that move.
Yeah.
And I think that I also think that he's still, which I don't necessarily blame him for, but I also believe he still believes in this roster completely. So
it's hard to mess with the core when you feel like you're still in your window. I get that. And the Eastern Conference is pretty. Ben, we talked about last week. The Eastern Conference is wide open next year.
It is, and here's the thing. I don't think you got to mess with the core, right?
Okay.
But I think the physicality of you just need small. I think if you look at all these championship teams, right? Obviously you got your core guys, your starting five that you're gonna ride with, right?
Yeah.
But every team has that spark plug off the bench, whether it's that quote unquote enforcer, right? Or whether it's that the Warriors for so long had Sean Livingston, who I swear still hasn't missed a mid range in his life.
Just a walking bucket.
That dude. But kind of like Rayshone said, if I'm the Cavs, right, I don't think you make a move this year, right? Because you got you got the core four locked up for at least 2 more years, right?
Okay.
And
they're in better shape than the Celtics are.
They are, but the big free agents come in 2027, right?
Okay.
And
what are you thinking about?
I don't know. Haven't looked at it, but I just know there's some big names. I know Jokic is a free agent in 2027.
Okay, he's not coming to Cleveland.
No, but Luka's a free agent in 2027.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of big name guys that are free agents in 2027.
Sure.
And it's if you can ride out one more year, because you're gonna have to get rid of these guys. I get Dan Gilbert said he's willing to pay the second apron luxury tax for 3 years. So
if they're a contender, what if he doesn't see the team as a contender?
That technically could give us 5 more years, right? Okay. But that's why I'm saying you can wait 2 more years, right? Because that'll take you into the 2 years of these guys' contracts, and then he's willing for 3 more years. He's willing to pay the luxury tax if we're a contender. So I think
that means if that means 2 more second round losses, are you okay with that?
I don't know if it. Well, I still think you add small pieces though, because I think you have to make a Western Conference final to be considered a contender.
You gotta make the East or the West?
Or East, my bad.
If they make the West, I'll be really impressed, man. It'll be a 3-team final.
No, but I think you have to make the Eastern Conference final to be considered a contender,
That's
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
and you get there and compete, hopefully, not get swept or
I think it all comes from you need some more, you need better pieces off the bench, right? You have Ty Jerome, you have DeAndre Hunter, 2 of the best. Well,
regular season guys off the bench.
Yeah. I mean, Hunter was okay in the playoffs. He wasn't
hurt.
bad.
It's not fair to say. Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, he was cool.
But like you said, I think you could keep Okoro, but I think Merrill has to be gone. I think Javonte Green needs to get more run.
Okay.
And I think Craig Porter needs to get more run too. But again, we don't have I think we need to go out and sign a backup big man because we're running with Evan Mobley. We're running with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen as your only real two big men. And then you put in Dean Wade and play like a small ball five.
And you've got them out there at the same time most of the time.
Yeah. But the one thing I did like, though, that I will say I think the Cavs should have done more is when that too. But when Dean Wade was playing the 3 to begin the season before he got hurt, right? You had 3 big men over 6'8" and 2 guards, right? That's a nightmare mismatch for teams because not only you have to worry about Dean Wade and Evan Mobley on the perimeter, but then Jared Allen can roam more in the paint.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to you got 3 guys that are all crashing boards. It's not solely relying on Jared Allen to get rebounds.
Yeah, to go down and play on the lower block, and that's.
And I think with Strus, I think that's the problem with Strus is don't get me wrong, he's not afraid to go for a rebound, but sometimes when you got Mobley shooting a 3, and you got Strus crashing the boards with Jared Allen, you're going to get out rebounded, right?
Yeah.
Like you look at the game, you look at that game 2 when Dean Wade got some serious run, and he was crashing the boards with Jared Allen. We out rebounded him by 20 and still lost.
You know, a guy, and I'm not saying that because this guy's way past his prime, but you know who just popped into my head as like a perfect piece for this team? Tony Kukoc. Do you guys remember Tony Kukoc with the Bulls?
If you gave this Cavs team Dennis Rodman, we'd be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. That's a great one too.
You just need the Cavs just need a guy that can rebound the basketball. And Jared Allen, so many times in that Pacers series, just went silent, like he's non-existent. You couldn't find him.
And that's exactly right there why I'm ready to trade and strike the pot while it's hot. Because essentially for what it is for me too is that some of these guys, it's like I said, you can stay and you can't. The guys I say that you can't, the reason I'm telling you can't anymore is because I just don't believe when it comes to crunch time, you have it in you. I don't believe you have it in you, Garland. I don't believe you have it in you, Jared. So, you guys are the first 2 that I'm going to move. And then so far, it's like what you said with the 2027 free agency. Very valid point. But my only concerns at that point is what's going to happen throughout the stretch until then. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
If we don't trade anyone now, and then let's say for those next couple of seasons, we are just all of a sudden going downhill, struggling. And now someone's like, you know what? I want out. I'm tired of being here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Guess what? Now that trade value of that player and the power and advantage that you may have had if you would have traded this offseason.
One less year of a contract, a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to play to the mercy of other teams now where they're like, he wants out, so I'm not going to give you the most that you might could have gotten in 2025. And then so far as with those free agents, one thing we got to remember here about Cleveland, we are not, we're not the most popular place everyone wants to come to and play sports. Like the Browns can pull that off because the Browns essentially somebody wants to be titled, hey, he's the guy that went to Cleveland and changed the entire Browns organization around. Who wouldn't love that? But so far as for the Cavaliers, where in LeBron, he's already made his mark and brought a championship here, no one's not going to care to come here, especially not like a Luka or Jokic. If anything, those 2 are going to want to play together.
And especially while LeBron's still in the league, you come here and you're kind of living in his shadow, and that's tough.
Exactly.
I agree. I agree.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I agree with 100% with what you're saying. I think the only part I disagree is I think you give Garland 1 more year because the last 2 years he's been hurt in the postseason. Last year he had the broken jaw, and this year I don't think people my friends were calling him soft for playing with a hurt toe. When you're Garland and you're the type of player that needs to use explosiveness and changes speeds and change, it's very shifty. That hurts to push off on that foot consistently because it's hard to change when you push off with your left foot and you're trying to go right. If anybody's ever played basketball, try pushing off with your left, go facing this way and trying to go right. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I think if you give Garland 1 more year and he's healthy in the postseason, and you get what you're going to get from Donovan in the postseason, he's going to get his buckets, right? Whether it's from the free throw line or whether I just think you need. I think if you get 1 year with a healthy Garland and Mitchell, and maybe even just a healthy Mobley, right? I think this team could be like, I think they could make some serious noise because you look at last year, right? Mobley single-handedly took the Celtics to 6 by himself, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And
but I feel like we just keep waiting for him to make this big jump, and maybe I'm being too hard on him. He's 23 years old.
Well, can I say something about Mobley when you get a chance?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm okay with Mobley.
Okay.
Because what I wanted to start seeing from him, Kenny brought that out of him.
Okay.
But I wanted to start seeing the physicality, I actually like wanted. I started to see that once Kenny got. So I don't have an issue with Mobley at all. I think for me it's just so I can't remember. And originally I heard this statement off of First Take, and I think it was a book, and I think Pat Riley had said it. And he went to one of his players that were injured, right? And I'm paraphrasing here, and like I said, I think Pat Riley said this back in his younger days. He went to one of his players and he said, if it really came down to it, and it was a do or die situation of going home for the season, and all we could ask for you was 5 minutes each quarter, even though you're hurt, would you do it? And the player said, yeah. And then Pat Riley followed up and said, then why the F are you here in street clothes? And I bring that up because when I think about how Garland set out those couple of games, then Mobley set out, and then they come back the very next game.
Yeah.
And they do what they do. They blew them out at home by 15, 20. Yeah. And then it sets me back, makes me scratch my head and think to myself, how hurt did you really think you were? You know what I mean? Like, and like, because my friend at the time, not my friend at the time, me and my friend were having a conversation at the time, and
we got a dying friendship here. Look out.
No, but he personally felt like that, it had to do with injuries, and who wouldn't think to themselves immediately, injuries. But my issue with that statement, which I said to him, was that, hey, when they came back from these injuries, they won that game.
Yeah.
So I'm not denying that they're injured, but my question is the severity of your injury.
Yeah. And adrenaline is a crazy thing, man. Adrenaline will push your body to do things you didn't think you were capable of. Like,
and I agree. And like, but remind you this, right? This is the same medical staff last year that told Jared Allen he was cleared to play, but then gave him a shot and then told him, oh no, you can't play, but you're cleared. Like, physically, you're good enough to play, but we don't want you playing with a bruised rib.
Yeah. I thought that was the opposite way around. I thought they said that he could, like, I thought they said something on the sense of like he couldn't play, but if he was to take this shot, he could play. But Jared Allen, which is something I respect, he said, no, I'm not just letting you play.
Maybe it was. Maybe I think I might have it confused. Okay. I think you're right.
Yeah,
but
I thought that's how it went.
At the same time, though, like you said, right? Like, even if it's 5 minutes a quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 20 minutes. You're telling me you can't go out there and give me 20 minutes?
Right.
Play 5 minutes a quarter. You get 7 minutes to rest every quarter.
And I'm going to work with you on monitoring your injury. Like,
exactly.
I'm going to strictly be on that time. Like, okay, hey, I might even pull you out at 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Like, all right, come on,
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
and that's the killer.
You got all offseason to heal, right?
Millions. Yeah. Come on, man. You got people that will go to their 9 to 5 with like a bad knee, or they're not always feeling the healthiest. They're not always feeling 100%. You got people who will go to their 9 to 5 that'll stand on their feet all day for a 12-hour shift, or that'll be like hurting their back or shoulders because they work in a very physical warehouse or whatnot, and you're telling me you can, as me just stated, you can't go out here and give me 4 to 5 minutes?
And you're
seriously?
And I always tell
fair question.
I always tell people this. You're telling me Mikal Bridges hasn't played through any injuries in the 450-some games he's played in the NBA?
Come on, man. Like, seriously.
Aaron Gordon just played with a grade 2 hamstring strain. Like, what are we doing?
What are we talking about? Like, come on, man. Like,
he played with an injury that takes 8 to 10 weeks to heal.
So the Cavs have to get tougher. We know that,
they
right?
do.
That's what we're saying. Okay.
Yeah, yes, they do.
That's what it sincerely boils down to.
The only player in that starting – oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. The
only player in that starting 5 that is tough is Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
Clearly.
Okay.
That dude is out there playing on one leg, at one ankle, and he's giving the Pacers buckets. He's the only guy that
35.
Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Mobley had a great game 5, right? But Mobley didn't look hurt. Mobley looked perfectly fine.
Thank you. Somebody said it.
Like,
Thank you.
It wasn't like you saw Mobley like limping here and there. Like Mobley looked perfectly fine. And I went back and watched the game where he hurt his ankle. He finished out the game and looked perfectly okay.
Perfectly okay.
So
it was weird. It was
and
so weird
like,
that he was.
I want to say this too, right? Like obviously some of it's the player wanting to play too, but some of it has to be the medical staff, right? Because if he looks perfectly fine, the medical staff, because the medical staff doesn't have to clear him. They can say, no, you're not cleared, even though he feels fully healthy. That's why Kawhi Leonard left San Antonio.
I can't imagine how much pressure there is on the medical staff, by the way, to make that decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
like,
that's
you
why
want to protect the player's future, but also the whole organization depends on, it's tough.
Yeah,
that's
much.
Why, I don't know if you guys remember, but that's why Kawhi left San Antonio.
Yeah.
Because remember, he had that back injury, and he kept wanting to play, and they kept telling him, oh, no, you're not cleared.
I thought it was the laugh, honestly. But anyway.
But, like, it's one of those things, it's like, if it's playoff basketball, like you said, Chad, like, you're getting paid millions of dollars. You have the whole offseason. You're not like baseball where you end in November and you're back at it again in February.
I mean, come on, man.
You end in June. You have July, August, September, and almost all of October.
Yeah. You can almost get to Halloween before you got to play again, right?
Yeah. Or like if you're like the Cavs, right? Like say they play and you still lose in 7, right? Then you've got April, May, June, July, August, September, and that's almost 7 months.
You must have a calendar in front of you. You got to be cheating to know all those months like that.
Hey,
Ray, real quick. Ray, I want to ask you one question before we get you out of here because I know you don't want to talk about the Browns. We're heading into that pretty soon.
I'm not beginning that. Yeah.
Let's get away from this. We don't want to do that right now, or at least to you. We'll do it. We'll take that, Brunt. But as far as the NBA goes, like you look at the 4 teams that are left, it's weird, right? Like the Eastern Conference is just really weird. Knicks and Pacers, like who thought that? Obviously, we thought OKC would be there, but then you got the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you can look at just real quick, if one player, one team, one star, who has the most to gain from winning a title that's left right now? That's a tough question.
Well, the most to gain, it would be the Knicks, considering just all of the talk and just craziness they went through and the failures that they're having. They're kind of similar to us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, only they've overcome it.
Yeah, so they would definitely have the most to gain, but I would like to answer this question. Who do I think is going to win it all?
Yeah, do that.
I think it's Shai's time, man. I think Shai's winning the MVP tonight, and I think OKC is taking it all. I really do. They proved me wrong because I remember I was on here last time and I said teams like those young teams like OKC and the Cavs and Indiana. I'm going with guys that are proven, the Denvers, the Golden States, the LA. But we see where those proven guys are now. You know, and the young guys, they're just making it clear, like, hey, man, we respect those dudes, but we're here. And
do you know one team who I think it actually might hurt to win a title? This is going to be weird. This is a weird. I was just thinking about this morning. I think it might actually hurt Minnesota if they go on to win a title.
Why?
Because if they do, I think Anthony Edwards, that's his ticket. He's gone. Because he's going to become a superstar.
Yeah.
And you can't live as a superstar playing for the Timberwolves. It just can't happen.
I think
the NBA is weird. The market's weird.
See, but
I think he's staying.
No, I would actually agree with Rayshone here. I think he does stay because think about it. If he wins a title with the Timberwolves, right? Like like I said, 2027 free agency is coming up, right? If you're Nikola Jokic, right? What's stopping you from going to team up with Anthony Edwards in Denver? Or not Denver, in Minnesota.
Minnesota winners? I don't know.
What's I mean, but Denver can't be much worse.
No, it can't be. Yeah, you're right.
So but if he wins a title this year, right? You think about it, like next year, he's just got to wait one more year and he can get all the reinforcements he wants because they're going to listen to whoever he wants. If he wins a title, if he brings a title this year, he's got he'll be Lee Anthony Edwards. He'll be the new GM.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'm wrong for Timberwolves fans, but I think that could be a thing if they. I don't know.
Okay.
There's a long way to go for that.
I got one more question for Rayshone before we get out of here and talk Browns.
Okay.
Definitely.
Do you think the NBA needs to do something about the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander foul baiting that people are saying?
Oh, they're saying like he gets called.
Yeah.
He wants crap like that. No, man. And this is why I say no. When you look at that guy, when you look at Shai and how he plays, he's one of those players. He is just very elusive. So if he's just, dribbling against you and he's kind of giving it to you and he hits you with that step, and you're just falling for it, that's on you.
No, I agree.
Last night when I was watching the game, and I'm a big fan of the mid-range still, right? And when I kept seeing him just hit that same step back, fade away mid, and you kind of think to yourself, it's coming. Why can't you stop it? You can't stop it because
it's so old school. No one even expects it anymore.
Yeah, I mean that too as well. But
see,
he's just too elusive, and I don't think it's we like this guy. He hasn't even been crowned MVP yet, and I'm gonna be honest about it. They were almost to the point of giving the MVP award to Jokic because of what he started doing in the end of the season. So they almost tried to rob Shea in a sense. But now that you have seen this guy take out the other guy who he's battling for MVP, you're watching his elusiveness, his quickness on the court. No, man, I don't remotely think he's getting favoritism. I just think he is flat out baiting you and causing you to make a mistake.
I would agree. I saw 2 clips yesterday though of they called fouls on illegal touches to the body of Shea, and the Timberwolves players were straight up like this.
Yeah.
And I saw I think fouls like that should be able to be reviewed
for sure
because he got 2 cheap foul calls that turned the entire side of the game
in the playoffs. Yeah.
And but the ones you're saying, where he's cooking somebody and he pump fakes a midi and the guy jumps, that's on you. That's your own.
Yeah, come on, man.
But
better defensive position, right? Move your feet.
Yeah, but the weak ones where the guy's sliding and Shea just puts his shoulder into you, and then just throws up some random shot. I'll agree. Even Donovan Mitchell. Even Donovan Mitchell was doing it to the Pacers, right? I think
trying to score with no time on off the clock. Got to do something.
I think the NBA needs to do something about these, weak body contact fouls because there's so many times where it kills the momentum of games.
For sure.
And it just hurt. And it puts players in foul troubles. It happened with Darius Garland. Whenever there's a smaller guy and a bigger guy, and Shea's not small. He's what, 6'6", 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'5", 6'6", yeah.
So when he's going up against a smaller guard and that guard's sliding his feet and, it looks like he's getting physical, you got to think the guy's 6'5", 6'6". So he's he's got the advantage either way.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the fouls that I think need to be reviewed or need to be cut back on. But
didn't see those calls in the 90s, man. Don't remember growing up on those kind of fouls at all.
But
man, seriously.
But like you said, if he's cooking you and he gets you with a pump fake and you jump, that's on you. That's your own fault. I'm sorry, it is.
Come on, man. This dude was falling to the ground last night and with one hand just put it up. And, come on, man. That's not favoritism.
No,
that is just a talented, locked in kid who's championship, and I'm gonna do, especially considering the fact that they were locking him up pretty early in the first.
Yeah, no, he was.
Yeah, but as
they had him figured out,
right? But as a great player, responsibility, he was still going to find a way to be effective, and I think he found it by getting to that line.
All right. Well, Ray, listen, man, you found a way to be effective today, man. We appreciate you coming on. I'm going to get you out of here because we're going to talk about the Browns, and I know you don't want to stick around for this.
Yeah, good. Exit stage left. Jesus.
Yeah, don't tell Ben I might not even stick around for this. All right, we'll do that. We're going to get you out of here. Hey, thanks so much for being on, man. We appreciate it. We got all kinds of NBA offseason stuff to talk about, man. We're going to have you on over the summer. And when you're ready, emotionally ready, we'll talk about the Browns. We'll bring you back on. We'll have you say a little bit about the Browns. I don't know if you'll wait till week 2 or 3 of the preseason something, but we'll figure it out.
Let me wait till the end of next season.
That's fair enough. My man, Rayshone Gullatt, man. Thanks for coming on today. We'll see you next time, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Of course, man. Anytime. Later on. All right, Ben, we got to do this. This is like doing the thing you don't want to do, but we got to do it.
Hey, you were pretty spot on last year with the record, though.
I was pretty close. Yeah, I told you it was going to be a big step back. It felt like it. It had all the earmarks were there, right? You could just see it coming. I don't know what I see coming this year. I don't see them improving a ton. I don't think we're going to look at an 11-6 or 12-5 team. And I'm not going to pull up the schedule. We're not going to do the full schedule game, but I'm just going to look at it here. I don't see. Oh gosh, man. Maybe Tennessee. I could see an 0-4 start and then the bye week.
They might even lose the bye week.
This is the 2023 season. I'm sorry, I had the wrong one up. I pulled the wrong one up. But anyway, they start off with Cincinnati in week 1. I think I really do see them. They could really start 0-4, 0-5. I'm not going to go try to look for the right schedule. I apparently pulled up the wrong file, but it's been one of those days. It's been a technical difficulty day. But what's your feel I think it's really hard. It's really raining hard right in my house right now. Speaking of that, but what's your feel for the Browns this year? I mean, I know as a Steelers fan, you don't care if they improve or not. But what's your feel? I mean, do you like look from the outside looking in? I mean, how does it seem to you? Like, what do they look like? What kind of team do they look like? 4-13, 5-12, 10-7. What do you think?
They're in the same boat as Pittsburgh. You don't really have an elite quarterback, and in today's game, to win a Super Bowl, you need an elite quarterback. Like it's been proven, right?
Okay.
And
yeah,
people are saying, Flacco's here to save the franchise, but I don't know if you saw the report that came out yesterday. Flacco's not even getting first team reps at OTAs.
Okay.
He's splitting second team reps with Shedeur Sanders.
Okay.
So
that's intriguing.
So if you're telling me that you're going to roll out Kenny Pickett in week 1, and he's going to be like the savior of the Cleveland Browns, I'll believe it. I'll believe it when the Browns win a Super Bowl and he's hosting the Lombardi Trophy.
Well, okay. That's a lofty thing to think about. I think rolling out Kenny Pickett in week 1 tells me that you're not serious about winning or improving this year.
I agree.
No offense to Kenny Pickett. I don't, he could develop. He's got time, right? He's young still. This Browns offense and this whole, or just not even this Browns offense, but the Browns organization since 1999 has not been a place for quarterbacks to go and develop, right? It's just not happened. I mean, we haven't seen it happen at all, not once. Baker, I think, got better every year here.
But he wasn't like considered elite. He wasn't great like he is now in Tampa Bay.
No, he's definitely better. I think people look back on it, I think, with rose-colored glasses, and they go, well, look at Baker, what he's doing now. But it took him a couple of different stops, right? And some time to mature a little bit and to grow up and to change into what he is now in Tampa. I don't know that he would necessarily still be, or I don't know that he would necessarily be this guy if he were still in Cleveland. Who knows? I have no idea. They probably wouldn't be in the, financial hole that they're in if they, hadn't gone after the guy they went after. Deshaun Watson hasn't contributed anything to the franchise. Nothing. A couple of decent halves of football is it.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. It's not going to cut it. So I don't know. I look at the Browns and I just think, like you said, they're a team without a quarterback. They don't have a proven, not even an answer at quarterback. They just don't even have a guy. We don't even know who's going to play there yet. It could be Pickett. It could be Joe Flacco week 1. It could be, I don't think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel.
No, at least for Pittsburgh, we know that if we don't get Rodgers, like we're getting Mason Rudolph in week 1. We know that part. And
I think in some ways that makes it a little bit easier.
I do.
You have time to install the offense, right? You know what you're going to do.
And if you think about it, Rudolph to Aaron Rodgers isn't a huge difference. They're not Rodgers isn't going to kill you with his feet. Mason Rudolph isn't going to kill you with his feet. They're
also,
both pocket passers.
Yeah.
And I just think with the Browns too, I think it's Pickett's not super mobile, but he can get out and extend plays if he needs to. And I think the Browns have a quarterback room that I don't you can install the same offense with all 4 guys.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
We know Stefanski loves his play action passes and his rollouts. And I think all 4 guys are very capable of doing that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about if that would make Sanders a target for the Browns before the draft. And, I don't know whose choice it was. A lot of people seem to think that this was an ownership thing where, Jimmy Haslam stepped in and said, hey, take him now. People try to gauge, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry's reaction to drafting Shedeur Sanders. But, I mean, you're not going to overplay your card and draft a guy in the 5th round and start partying and whooping it up, right? I don't think – I mean, if that's the thing about, if you're going to be the smartest guy in the room, quote unquote, is what people like to say about the Browns. I don't think maybe you don't play that hand too strongly in the beginning, right? You just sort of take the player, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. People are calling him a bust. I think it's ridiculous to call him a bust. He's drafted in the 5th round. That's not fair. I think whatever you get out of Shedeur Sanders is going to be positive. And listen, I've seen nothing but positive things since he's been here. And people even ride him for that a little bit. I mean, everything that he says that's positive, that's team oriented or city oriented or whatever, franchise oriented, people like to jump on him because he's just got someone telling him to say the right things. Okay, well, maybe so, but I don't know. He's doing and saying the right things. I don't know if you saw the video. They were on Instagram. Shedeur Sanders was, and he was talking to Quinshawn Judkins. And basically he was reminding Judkins that he had to wear his uniform a certain way or he'd get fined, even in OTAs. It's like the rookie minicamp or whatever you call it. you got to wear the uniform the right way, or you get fined. The NFL fines you if everybody's uniform isn't exactly the same. And you can kind of see like Judkins wasn't really thinking about it, and Sanders. I mean, it would have been easy for Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick, to say nothing, right? Like,
Yeah,
you could have just totally let that go. But I thought that was like, that's that little moment of leadership and that little moment of like caring about your teammate that may be there in October and you may not be. Let's face the realism. I mean, he may not be here. But I thought that was a great little moment of leadership. I think things like that show his character. I think he's a tremendous leader.
I think people dog on him, because his dad is, Deion Sanders, and the way he, some people don't agree with, the way he, coached at Colorado.
Yeah.
But one of the things I will say is you look at the two guys, the two big names from that team, right? Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Did you see the Facebook post from about Travis Hunter?
No, which one?
There was a girl on a flight, and she was talking about how she was next to the most polite young man she's ever seen, saying yes ma'am, no ma'am, no sir, yes sir. You did see that?
Yep.
And I was thinking about it. It's like, you think about both of these guys, right? Like Deion Sanders took Travis Hunter under his wing. He literally told his parents, he's like, I will make sure this guy is a gentleman when he's done with me as his coach.
Mission accomplished.
And yeah, like you look at both those guys, like they're both like good people. And like you said, it's like,
so Sanders likes to have a little bit of fun on the field. The whole watch celebration. I don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah,
they're both have fun, man. You're young.
Yeah, like Deion Sanders. I don't even remember. Like they didn't do like Captain C. They did the L's and the D's for leaders and dogs.
Okay, yeah.
And Shedeur and Travis both had L's for leaders, and then the other captains had D's for dogs, right?
Yeah.
And like being a dog was like just being tough, being physical, always giving 100%.
Yeah.
And being a leader was a guy that was putting the team before yourself.
Yeah.
And Deion Sanders always said that's why they got the L's and the other people got the D's.
I think that shines through, and Shedeur Sanders is and his whole personality and just who he. I think I maybe I'm just I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I have no idea what. I don't know why people are so angry with him or why people dislike him so much, what we're so happy to see him drop to the 5th round about. I just don't get.
I think it's because his dad is Deion Sanders. I think that's just, and like I said, I don't think
his fault. He didn't. You know what I mean? He was just
but people in today's society, I don't think people like the way he coached at Colorado, and they're taking it out on Shedeur for it. And
it's the same reason that people wish failure upon LeBron's kids. I mean, it's actually one of the lowest forms of. It's really pathetic. Being that invested in someone's failure that you've never met or never will meet, it's just it's a waste of your resources, right? Like, what are you doing? I don't get it. I don't understand that at all. That being said, I don't know if he's going to start week 1 or if he'll ever start a game for the Browns, but I'm certainly not rooting against the kid. I mean,
people forget Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round, so
of course, yeah, of course, and that turned out well, right?
Obviously, it's far from it, but Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant and just signed a 5-year, $265 million deal. Like,
talent gets overlooked. I mean, ability gets overlooked in the draft every year. Let's not act like every single NFL GM and scout is infallible. I mean, these guys have flaws. They don't know. I mean, sometimes you can really overlook. Sometimes it's hard, right? You just can't see that. You can't measure that. You don't know what a guy has inside. You don't know what they're made of. You don't know, sometimes it's hard to see how much grit a guy. I mean, who would have thought Patrick Mahomes, after his college career, would do what he's doing in the NFL? I mean, it's the same thing. You just don't know. You don't know. It's all about how much a guy wants it, how much they're willing to work for it. It's about situation, opportunity. There's a lot of things that have to fall into place. It's not always on the player. I mean,
now don't get me wrong, right? Like, I think the Browns have a great leader for these guys in Joe Flacco, because he's been to a Super Bowl, he's won a Super Bowl. Yeah. He's been around for a long time, knows how to win.
In that division, yeah.
Yeah, in this division, knows what it, he's got that toughness. He's got that mentality of winning.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think he's a perfect mentor for these guys. Like, even if he does, like I said, even if he starts week 1, right?
Yeah.
And say the Browns start 1-3, or even if they start 0-4, right? And he's not great.
Which I see is a real possibility, yeah.
And that he's going to be okay if he gets benched. And say he gets benched after going 0-4, right? You got the bye week. Say they put Kenny Pickett out there. and then say they win week 5, right?
Yeah.
Joe Flacco is going to be just as happy if he with him being.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go into a hole and demand to be
Yeah.
traded. I don't think at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I also don't
I
think
think
the
he's
Browns.
here because he's invested here, right?
Yeah, I also don't think the Browns have a great offensive around these quarterbacks, though.
Yeah.
You got Jerry Jeudy, and that's about it.
That's about it as far as the receivers go. I mean, you've added a good tight end. I think you can use Harold Fannin a little bit in the passing game with David Njoku. I think that helped.
I think Harold Fannin's biggest question is how good of a blocker is he?
That's fair. I don't think he's a great blocker.
I see him as a big receiver, and if he's just a big receiver, just stick a cornerback on him. Like, you don't got to worry about sticking a linebacker on him. Just be like, hey, we know you're going to run a route, so we're just going to stick a cornerback on you. Good luck.
That's fair. And it's not like he's 6'6" or 6'7". I mean, he's only 6'3", right? He's not.
Yeah.
It's not out of the question to put a 6 foot, slot corner on him and expect the guy to lock him up. I mean, speed wise, we talked about Finn is not a great route runner, right? He's not going to shake. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's Njoku, and how Stefanski loves his 2 tight ends, right?
Sure.
And a lot of times, it's you have that blocking tight end and you have that receiving tight end. And now that you get Fannin, you might use Njoku as a blocking tight end sometimes. And there's 2 tight ends out there, and you've seen it before. You're like, okay, yeah, we know you're running a route. We're just going to stick a cornerback on you. Good luck catching the ball.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how the new quarterbacks on the roster. I mean, we know what happened when Joe Flacco was throwing the ball to David Njoku a couple of years ago. I mean, it was fantastic. It looked great.
Electric.
He was electric, and it was amazing to see that transformation. And Njoku, it was like he finally had someone to deliver the ball the right way. It's hard to really put your finger on what exactly it is, but I think Flacco just maybe threw with a little bit more touch over the middle, maybe put the ball in a better place. Flacco's found him a little bit earlier. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Flacco's one of those guys that, he throws to a spot. He doesn't throw to the receiver. He throws to a spot. So, receivers are expecting the ball to be at a certain location. And if it's not there, then it throws them off.
Yeah, and I think you're asking a lot of a tight end to make that many adjustments on it. That's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fair.
I think that's what makes great quarterbacks elite.
Yeah.
Josh Allen was good before he fixed his accuracy. Once he fixed his accuracy and started throwing to spots and not throwing 2 receivers, he became elite.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes Patrick Mahomes so good.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes Jalen Hurts so good. That's what made Big Ben
so good. Is it going to be Bills Chiefs again?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think that's what made you can hate him on you can hate on him all you want, but that's what made Big Ben so good, right? Like Big Ben threw 2 spots. You talk about quarterbacks throwing guys open. These are the quarterbacks that throw guys open.
Yep.
And put the ball where only their guy can catch it. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, how do you make that throw? Because he put it where only his guy can catch it.
Do you see anybody in the NFL? Does anybody have a chance? I think the Bills could really go 15-2 this year. I was just gonna say, do you think anybody goes 17-0?
I don't think anybody ever will.
Ever?
No.
Not ever. Okay. It's only been a few years since we've seen a team go 16-0.
I don't think we.
Okay. Are we moving to 18 games soon?
I think we will.
So 2 preseason games and 18 regular season? Yeah.
I just don't think the players want to do it. So it's going to be kind of those things where there's going to be a game in the middle of the season where they're turned off and they get smacked by the Carolina Panthers. And you're like, how the hell did they lose that game?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair. I get that. You got to have 2 bye weeks if you go 18, right?
Oh, you have. I think Joe Burrow explained it perfectly, right?
Okay.
I think you get 2 bye weeks. It pushes the Super Bowl back to that President's Day weekend. So then everybody has school off on Monday.
Okay.
So you get 2 bye weeks. It pushed the Super Bowl back 1 week to that President's Day weekend, and everybody be off on Monday.
That sounds logistically like that would work.
But knowing the NFL, they'll start the season a week sooner.
I was going to say they'll start 2 weeks sooner, and then it'll be the Super Bowl at the same exact time. Yeah, probably, because I don't know. If it's not broken, don't fix it, I guess. And the NFL is not broken. I mean, of any of the major sports, the NFL is probably the most not broken. Real quick, other AFC North notes. Are the Bengals ever going to pay Trey Hendrickson or no?
No.
Probably
if they can't meet their first round pick wants, they're not meeting what Trey Hendrickson wants.
Yeah, that's a tough situation too, man. That's a tough one.
Right there, that's 2 of your starting defensive linemen that you don't have signed this year.
I get it. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are expensive. I understand that. But man, you got to pay the defense too. You got to pay guys to go stop somebody, right? I mean, we talked about it a couple years ago. They lost 2 safeties, I think, and remember I told you, I said they're going to struggle. The Bengals are going to be really bad defensively. I mean, they didn't even try to replace those guys. They just let two very good NFL safeties go and didn't even attempt to replace them at that talent level. They just used whatever was in turn. I don't know. That was a rough decision. And I think that was kind of the beginning of the Bengals going downhill. You think Joe Burrow ever gets back to the Super Bowl? With the Bengals? No. Okay.
I told one of my buddies this. The only time Joe Burrow ever made it to the Super Bowl, his offensive line was ranked in the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, he's had a bottom 10 offensive line.
Yeah.
And
ask Caleb Williams how that works out. Yeah.
Yeah. But think about this, though, right? All the Bengals offensive line needs to be is top 20, and Joe Burrow will take you to a Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
Like, they were like...
But they've got to be able to stop people. Because, listen, Burrow played very well last year. They've got to do something on defense.
No, I agree. But I'm just saying, like their offensive line was ranked 19th.
Okay.
The year they made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, their defense wasn't great either that year. I mean, yeah, they were. I mean, they got key. The thing about that Bengals defense is they got the key stops when they needed to.
Fair. That's fair.
Like, they got the big stops when they needed to.
It's hard to do that without much of a defensive backfield. You know what I mean?
No, it is. It is.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
One more question for you in the NFL, and then we got to go. Oh, wait, we never said the Browns record. I think the Browns are at 4-13. That's where I think I don't think they're trying to improve. What's that?
0-17. I'm just kidding.
17. I love it. We'll have another parade. No one's ever gone 0-17. That'll be an accomplishment. That'll be huge. Real quick, NFL. One more NFL question. Who is the most improved team to you, Bears or Patriots?
Patriots.
I think it's the Patriots.
I love Mike Vrabel.
Same. Same. I think they got tougher. I think they got better on offense. The Bears have a better offensive line for sure. They got better.
But
Bears, Patriots.
You can have a better offensive line, but when you're tough, when you got that toughness that Mike Vrabel brings, it's hard to keep you down. It's hard to beat somebody.
Yeah, that would have been a nice.
No, I don't think the Patriots will be great this year. Like I think you'll see improvements.
Okay.
But I think it'll take Vrabel a couple years to build what he wants in New England.
That's fair, and that's likely. And listen, it might take us a couple of years to build to the end of this episode, but we can't. I got to get out of here. I have things to do, so we got to go. Listen, thank you guys for watching today. We appreciate it. Thanks to our guest, Rayshone Gullatt, of course, for being on again. We'll have him on, throughout the summer. We'll check in with him on some things. When he's ready to talk Browns, we'll talk Browns with him. Then maybe never, unless they start off 5-0, and then maybe he'll want to come on. But yeah, we'll definitely have him back on to talk some more Cavs. I'm sure. I don't know how many big roster moves are coming from the Cavs, but if that happens, we'll definitely get him back on and get his reaction. Other than that, we're still looking forward to the NIL episode. Still trying to line up some guests for that, and get everything kind of put in pen. Right now, we've got things in very light pencil. Right, we keep erasing and moving things, but we'll get guests lined up. I want to have the NIL episode. I want to have that discussion. Then in just a couple of weeks, we've got supposedly the NCAA is going to make a decision on the Michigan sign stealing scandal. We're looking at maybe June 5th or June 6th on that, so we might get some news there. We'll definitely cover that. That's about it. I mean, that's all we've got for you. Until then, enjoy watching baseball. We've got hockey playoffs going on. Got the basketball conference finals. If you're into that, if you're an OKC fan or a Minnesota fan or I don't know if you like the Knicks or the Pacers or whatever, you can watch that. I probably won't be watching any more basketball this year, but that's okay. Until then, we'll just see you next week. For Ben Bales, I'm your host. I'm Chad Bryan. Thank you for watching the Sports Show with No Name, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.